What's going on, my party people? I know you guys are bored on a Friday night, so why don't we just break down some DeFi and maybe learn something, right? That sounds like fun, right? Well, I wanted to kind of break down the Solstice market on Kamino because I think there's a lot of, little tidbits of information that can be shared that really shows the things you can do with DeFi and also what's currently picking up in the Solana DeFi ecosystem. Of course, you guys know I'm bullish on Solstice, love Solstice, so it's just a great example. Then I'll actually share my position that I have set up. So let's get to it. If you want to find this market, you do have to go on Kamino, click borrow, and then search for Solstice, and it should show up. So I wanted to break down all the different tokens on here. So first, you have EUSX, right? A lot of you in the Solstice ecosystem should be familiar with EUSX. All it is Solstice's stablecoin, USX, locked as EUSX so that it can start earning a yield. That's all it is. That's EUSX. And you're able to supply it. So you're able to deposit it so that you can use it as collateral to borrow money. Pretty simple, right? The other one is USDC, which I'm pretty confident like 99% of you guys know what that's all about. Here you can supply and borrow it. So the supply side here, you can see you can get 5% APY for supplying it because it's one of the tokens that a lot of people are borrowing. And if you want to borrow it, it's actually only 0.13% to borrow, which is extremely cheap. Like that is very cheap money. So that's really cool. And we'll get to that a little bit. And then the other two are a little more interesting. So you can see there's PT-USX and PT-eUSX. Now I know it's a lot of letters, and the more letters, the more confusing it is, but PT stands for principal token. And all it really is the token stripped of its yield. Like it just doesn't have a yield anymore. And it probably makes the most sense for EUSX. So when I say this, you're like, okay, a token with no yield, but how is there 4.38% APY? So essentially, what happens, and to do this yield stripping, it's on Exponent. There's a whole bunch of tokens that you can do that with. But essentially what it is the token is sold at a discount because it doesn't have a yield. We're going to use USX as an example because it's the simplest. So for example, if I wanted 1,000 PT-USX, that should be around 993 USX. So as you can see, I could spend $993 and get 1,000 PTs, right? And then why it's on a discount is because it has no yield up until a certain point, and that's until June. So the way you can think of it is I can hold 1,000 PTs, I could get them for 993 bucks, and in June they will be worth $1,000 again. And that difference in price is what the yield is calculated. So it's an implied yield, as in if you just hold this and wait, it will be worth more, and it will be worth 4.43% a year more. So it's a little bit of a brain trip, but essentially it's just money that's kind of growing in value over time, which is amazing to use as collateral, and it's what I'm actually using as collateral in my position that I'll talk about in a little bit. So you have PT-USX and you have PT-eUSX. They both have their own numbers that you can find on Exponent, and you can use that as collateral. It says manage because I've actually put some in. Normally it would just say supply and supply here. The last little bit is USX, which is the Solstice stablecoin, and as you can see, there's both supply and manage. If you supply it, you can get 1% plus some flares. So you can earn a little bit for supplying, but also if you borrow, it's negative percentage. So you're kind of getting paid to borrow, which I will show you exactly how that looks like in my position. But I hope that you understand all these different assets that are used as collateral, and you can use multiple different ones of them to kind of build up your collateral so that you can borrow either USDC or USX with it. So let me go to, let me just go to my portfolio. So here, let me break down this one. So let's break this down. Here I have, what I've supplied is some PT-USX and PT-eUSX, right? And you can see the dollar value on here. It's around $34,000. and I've been able to borrow $25,008. This is actually a great example because realistically, I actually borrowed only $25,000. So this $8 has been the fees that have gathered from borrowing. But as you can see, I have $8 extra in fees, but I have $10 in rewards. That is what the breakdown of the APY was. I'm getting charged $8, but I'm getting rewarded $10, so I'm kind of getting paid to borrow. All I really got to do is claim these rewards, pay the little extra fees to bring this back down to $25,000, and I keep the rest. That's how I would secure the negative APY. For now, I'm not too worried. I'm just going to leave it here. So what's cool about this position is that these values are growing over time while I have money borrowed. So as you can see, I have 24K here, but 25,000 PTs. So by June, I should get about $1,000 from just simply holding these PTs. And at the same time, I have $25,000 to spend. Now, if I really want to get into it, which is making this a long video, about $20,000 of this I actually have in a liquidity position that's earning me about 8%. So I have about $20,000 also giving me 8% APY, giving me some rewards that I'm starting to claim more and more, earning me some flares for an airdrop. Like, it's doing a whole bunch of things. But it's pretty cool that I have productive money as collateral and then borrowed money, also productive, that is outpacing the cost. Now it's a negative cost, so everything's outpacing it. But even if I borrowed USDC, which was at like 0.12%, I can outpace it with other places, like here for 8.78%. Okay, this is getting kind of long, and a little trippy, but I'm curious. Where do I lose you guys? What needs further explanations? Let me know. But I find this a pretty cool setup. The one things I do have to watch out for, I guess I should go over those too, is I got to keep an eye out for these weekly rewards to know when they stop, because then the borrow APY is 2.44%. I'm still outperforming it, but it's just not as, groovy as before. The only thing that really could kill this is like some kind of stablecoin depeg or some issue on Exponent. But I mean, that's kind of like general risk. That's kind of just the risk of getting hit by a car kind of thing. Like, it's nothing crazy. It's not too much of market risks because it's a stablecoin. So that's what's a little bit different about using a PT stablecoin versus using something like Bitcoin or Solana, because then you really got to watch the market, because the loan to value ratio gets a little funky. Okay, now I got to get into that. That's going to get super long. But I leave a little bit of wiggle room so that, here, let me manage. In case of anything, I know I have some wiggle room. As you can see, I can borrow $2,000 more if I wanted to. It would bring my loan to value at 80%, which is the max I'm allowed to do. I remember seeing that the liquidation level is at like 95%. So there's still 15% more that something would have to happen for me to get liquidated, but okay, I won't get too much into that. I'm already 8.5 minutes in. Let me know what you think of this setup. Is it too confusing? Is it too much work for this APY? Or is this something that's kind of interesting to you? Anyways, if you made it this far, thanks for listening. Cheers.